Hello, we're excited today. As always, we've got Lauren Skudowitz, and I'm Meg Garrido, and we're going to be talking about what's been on a lot of people's minds, considering everything the news outlets and the media are saying in regard to foreclosures, economic downturn, and essentially just the world ending is kind of what they're saying. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about what the reality actually is, not scare tactics, from two people that are in the market every single day and go to news sources that we really rely and trust upon. First question, and these are questions that you all have asked us, so we took it straight from the horse's mouth. The first one is, will we see foreclosures? So there's a lot that's unique about the COVID situation and how lenders and banks have really handled forbearance. A lot of people entered into forbearance, and those became very scary statistics for a lot of people. But what a lot of people don't account for is a lot of people did a forbearance, meaning that they were not paying on loan installments that they had with different lenders, because they wanted to just test it and see what was going to play out. They didn't necessarily need that forbearance. They just wanted to be more liquid. Maybe they wanted to put more money into the stock market because it was getting really crazy. So those numbers are not necessarily representative of people that couldn't truly afford to pay. Also, lenders, banks, they're not super motivated to be able to say, hey, we're actually going to take your property, because we do have this nice leeway of forbearance, but they also have gotten really bitten by what happened in 2008, and they don't want to go through all of that again. So they've got a much longer leash right now in regard to how long people are going to have the opportunity to pay things back. And a lot of the people that have been affected by COVID, job loss and all of that, they're still able to pay these things because the job markets have rebounded. Lauren, I'd like to get just a wee bit of your take on that.
I think everything you said is 100% accurate.
Okay, great. Great. So it's a lot of tactics that are out there, because news outlets, a lot of times, let's be honest, they're looking to get more viewership. And really and truly, we have seen the most robust market, I think, ever, really and truly, in housing. So it's not the factor that people think is actually at play in regard to foreclosures. Also, the foreclosure process can take well over a year. So
sometimes 3 years.
Sometimes 3 years, exactly.
So what we're seeing right now, in terms of, banks starting the foreclosure process, those homes could potentially not even be available to consumers till, 2023.
Right. Yes, it's true. It's such a prolonged process, and you're sitting on the sidelines like, I'm going to get a foreclosure. You're going to be waiting quite some time. Next question, shoot it over to Lauren. Should I wait for the market to drop? What do you think?
We're seeing this question both in terms of home prices dropping and then also interest rates. So, interest rates are at historical lows. We do think that they're going to begin to increase throughout 2021, but most economists are not predicting that they're going to go much above 3%. So I think they'll probably end at 3% at the end of the year. So buyers' purchasing power right now is so much greater than it was at the beginning of last year, pre-pandemic, or the year before. So, we're seeing people right now purchase their move up homes because they can now afford it based on interest rates. On the flip side, home prices are higher than we saw pre-COVID. Last year, there were double-digit increases across multiple markets in the US. While inventory is still low right now and prices are still higher than they were Q1 of 2020. We are starting to feel and see more inventory hit the market, which is going to help stabilize prices. I don't anticipate at all any sort of crash or significant decline when it comes to home prices. So I think it's a great time to take advantage of the low interest rates and purchase in 2021.
I can speak from my own experience that I knew we had such an incredible opportunity because of these rates. I thought I had such an incredible rate when I just purchased a house 2 years ago. And then I got a new loan just 2 weeks ago and closed at a 2.65% interest rate. So, wow. What an incredible opportunity. And I know everyone's just saying, where do I go? Where do I go? Let us help you. That's what we're here for. That's why we have a network. That's why we talk to agents all the time. That's why we know what's coming on the market. And yes, you will have to be patiently persistent in order to find this property, but we'll get it done because you have the opportunity to be able to sell your house for such a great price at the same time. So it all balances.
And that's the key too, right? I mean, if you're both selling and buying in the current market, I mean, you have to look at the upside of selling for a premium. If you can make 10 or 15% more right now, I mean, that's potentially your down payment, as opposed to waiting until next year when you may be able to buy for a little less, but you're also going to sell for less.
Correct. I agree. All right, last question. Should I wait for the spring market?
I would argue the spring market is here. It has already sprung. From my personal experience historically, we see inventory levels rise March, April, May, and June, right? Those are historically really hot months. But, I think with COVID and people still staying close to home over the holidays, we saw a lot of people start their spring home search in November and December, and they're already buying and selling. So if you are thinking of doing a real estate transaction in 2021, you need to start right now. It is the spring market.
I would venture to say spring market happened in December of 2020.
There you go.
Because I literally was negotiating deals on Christmas Day. So there's been no lapse here. But what I don't want to see happen is with sellers that have been thinking about it, they see the inadequacies of their home, and then they're still just really leaning on the anecdotal spring market. It's already here. There's so many things that have been taken out of play in regard to schools and things like that. People don't have that same weight. And while great schools and school districts are important, people are doing virtual learning, and they're now sometimes even choosing to stay at home and do it with a different school. And there's different options and avenues and things like that, especially given the age of the child. So there's a lot of different things at play that were never at play, which now, really come to fruition in saying that there's not a spring market. It's already happened.
And so many families that have kids wait to list until after the last day of school in May. And to your point with virtual, I mean, you might as well just list now. There's really no difference. No need to wait.
Yeah, agreed. Well, hopefully this has been very valuable to everyone who was able to watch and listen. These are the questions that you all had. So we hope that you enjoyed it and will join us next time for Pulling Back the Curtain. Thank you so much.
Thanks.